When it comes to personal safety, awareness is not just a good habit. It is your primary shield. Most people move through their day in autopilot mode, thinking only about where they're going next, what's on their phone, or what's running through their mind. That automatic behavior is exactly what makes someone more vulnerable to threats. A criminal or opportunist is not looking for the strongest person or the richest person. They are looking for the easiest person. The easiest person to target is the one who is distracted, oblivious, and disconnected from what's happening around them. This is why awareness is the first and most important skill to develop. Situational awareness starts with consciously scanning your environment. It means taking in details, what's in front of you, what's behind you, who's within your personal space, and how the environment is changing. The key is to train yourself to do this naturally, without looking paranoid or tense. For example, when you walk into a building, notice where the exits are. In a restaurant, be aware of where the main entrance is, where the emergency exit is, and where people are positioned in relation to you. This isn't about expecting danger. It's about making it harder for anything to surprise you. Professionals in law enforcement, security, and protection do this instinctively because they know the value of being ahead of a situation instead of reacting late. Another part of awareness is removing distractions that impair your ability to notice changes around you. Wearing headphones at high volume cuts off one of your most valuable senses, your hearing. Staring at your phone while walking makes you a moving target because you are literally showing that you are not paying attention. Even subtle distractions, like daydreaming while you're in a public space, can make you slower to recognize when something isn't right. Think of awareness as being switched on. When you're outside your private space, you don't need to live on edge, but you should always be aware enough that you could describe what's happening around you if someone asked. Your intuition plays a major role in awareness. People often ignore their instincts because they don't want to seem rude, overreact, or make a big deal about something. That hesitation can be dangerous. Your body and mind can pick up on subtle cues long before you consciously recognize them. It could be the way someone is looking at you, the pace at which they are walking, or how they suddenly change direction to match yours. It might be the absence of people where you'd expect a crowd or a sudden silence in a normally noisy area. These are signals worth noting. Trusting your instincts doesn't mean you're accusing someone of something. It means you're listening to the warning system you were born with. Building awareness is like building any skill. You need to practice it daily. Start small. The next time you walk into a room, count how many people are there without staring. Notice what they're wearing, who is standing versus sitting, and where the exits are. When you're at a stoplight, observe what's happening in the cars next to you. Notice if someone has been behind you for several blocks. Try to identify new objects in familiar places. If something seems out of place, take note of it. These micro habits strengthen your observation skills until they become second nature. Awareness also means understanding the rhythm of your environment. Every place has a normal flow. When that flow changes abruptly, it's worth your attention. For instance, if you're in a busy shopping area and suddenly people are moving quickly in one direction, something has shifted. If a usually calm subway platform suddenly becomes tense, that's a sign to start assessing why. Criminals and aggressors often create disruptions to distract you before acting. By paying attention to these patterns, you can spot trouble before it reaches you. It's also important to position yourself in a way that makes awareness easier. If you're in a public space, stand or sit where you have a broad view. Avoid putting yourself in positions where you can't see what's coming. Awareness isn't just mental, it's physical. Where you place yourself affects what you can notice. This is why even a highly aware person can miss a threat if their view is blocked or their movement is restricted. The reality is, threats often don't come out of nowhere, they build up. Before something happens, there are usually signs, shifts, and subtle actions that reveal the direction it's heading. Your goal is to catch those signals early, giving yourself the power to decide your next move instead of being forced into one. People who are highly aware are harder to surprise, and that in itself is a deterrent. Control over your physical space is one of the most underrated aspects of personal safety. Most people move through public environments without consciously choosing where they stand, sit, or walk. They let the environment dictate their position instead of using positioning to protect themselves. But the truth is, Where you place yourself can either increase your safety or hand over control to someone else. Professionals understand that positioning isn't just about comfort, it's about advantage, visibility, and options. The first step is to be intentional about where you are in relation to entrances, exits, and potential obstacles. If you walk into a coffee shop, don't automatically take the first available seat. Ask yourself, can I see the main entrance from here? Can I identify a secondary exit if I need it? If someone enters who makes me uneasy, how quickly can I move without being blocked? These are not paranoid questions, they are strategic ones. In restaurants, sit where your back is not to the door. In public transportation, avoid being trapped in the far corner of a train car or bus where your movement could be restricted. Position yourself where you can observe and respond. Lighting is another factor that people overlook. Criminals thrive in poorly lit areas because darkness offers them concealment. Whether you're walking through a parking lot, down a street, or toward your car, stay in well-lit zones whenever possible. Parking under a light or near a building entrance isn't just about convenience. It's about being visible, both to potential witnesses and security cameras. That visibility makes you a less appealing target. Space is also a form of power. The more space you keep between yourself and others, the more time you have to react if something feels wrong. This doesn't mean you have to be antisocial, it means you're aware of your personal boundary. If someone you don't know closes that distance without reason, it's worth your attention. Position yourself so that you can move freely and put an obstacle, a table, a chair, a counter, between you and anyone who might pose a threat. This simple barrier can slow down an aggressor and give you valuable seconds to act. In crowds, control over your space is even more critical. Crowds can create a false sense of safety because there are so many people around, but they also make it easier for someone to get close without being noticed. In those situations, avoid getting boxed in or pinned against walls. Stay aware of openings in the crowd that lead to an exit. If the crowd starts shifting or surging, move toward the edges rather than the center. Being in the center of a dense crowd makes it harder to maneuver and limits your escape options. Your positioning should also take into account surveillance, both human and technological. Staying in areas with visible cameras can act as a silent layer of protection. If you're meeting someone you don't know well, choose a location where you can position yourself near the entrance, within sight of staff or other people, and in clear view of any security systems in place. This is not about fear, it's about stacking the odds in your favor before you need them. Think of positioning as setting the stage for your safety. When you have a clear line of sight, multiple escape routes, and physical space to maneuver, you are in control of the environment rather than letting it control you. That control changes the way you move, the way you react, and even the way potential threats perceive you. A person who positions themselves strategically is not just physically safer. They project a presence that says, "I'm not an easy target." And in most cases, that's enough to make someone with bad intentions look elsewhere. Most threats do not appear suddenly. They develop, and in that development, they leave behind clues. Learning to read human behavior allows you to spot those clues before a situation escalates. This skill isn't about profiling people. It's about understanding patterns and deviations from what's normal in a given environment. Professionals rely on this skill because it gives them an edge. They're not just reacting to what someone does, they're anticipating it based on subtle indicators. Start by recognizing what is normal for the place you are in. Every environment has its own baseline behavior. In an airport, people are usually moving with purpose, checking screens, pulling luggage. In a park, people are walking casually, talking, or relaxing. Once you know the baseline, you can spot anomalies, behaviors that don't fit the setting. An anomaly might be someone lingering without a clear reason, pacing while fixating on a specific person, or repeatedly scanning the area. These deviations should make your awareness sharpen. One of the most telling signs is the way someone's attention is directed. A target glance is a quick but intentional look at you or your belongings. It's not casual eye contact, it's assessment. People planning harm or theft often check a target more than once, gauging whether you're aware of them and how easy it would be to approach. If you notice the same person looking at you multiple times in different locations, that's a pattern worth noting. Movement patterns are another indicator. Someone who changes their pace or direction to match yours, or someone who appears in the same spaces you're moving to without a clear reason, could be positioning themselves for contact. In professional security, this is called shadowing. The sooner you detect it, the sooner you can change your route, move into a public or secure area, or confront the behavior verbally if necessary. Body language reveals more than most people realize. Watch for tension in the shoulders, clenched fists, shifting weight from foot to foot, or movements that seem rehearsed. Someone preparing to act, whether to approach aggressively or commit a theft, often displays these micro-expressions and micro-movements unconsciously. Their breathing might change, their focus might sharpen on a specific spot, or they might repeatedly touch an object on their person, like a pocket or waistband, checking if it's still there. That could indicate they're carrying something they plan to use. Behavior reading is also about recognizing clusters of cues, not just one sign in isolation. For example, someone looking at you once is normal, someone looking repeatedly while also closing distance, checking surroundings, and keeping one hand hidden is not. When you start linking these behaviors together, you're building a mental threat assessment in real time. This skill is not only for preventing criminal encounters, it can protect you in everyday conflicts. By observing facial expressions, tone of voice, and body posture, you can tell when a conversation is moving toward aggression. A person leaning in too close, raising their voice slightly, or narrowing their eyes is signaling escalation. Catching it early allows you to diffuse, disengage, or reposition yourself before things become physical. Training your observation takes practice. Make a habit of scanning crowds and identifying people's emotional states. Are they stressed, relaxed, agitated? Watch how people interact with their environment. Are they moving with intention, or do they seem to be loitering? The more you train your brain to catalog these cues, the faster you'll be at recognizing them without conscious effort. Professionals don't have superhuman instincts. They have trained observation. The difference between an average person and someone skilled at reading behavior is simply that the latter notices more and connects those observations faster. This is a skill anyone can learn, and once you have it, you carry it everywhere. It becomes part of your awareness toolkit, giving you a critical advantage in identifying and avoiding danger before it happens. Criminals and aggressors do not want a challenge. They want the easiest option. They are looking for someone distracted, unaware, and unlikely to resist. The goal, then, is simple. Make yourself a hard target. This is not about walking around looking threatening or confrontational. It's about projecting a presence that communicates you are alert, confident, and in control of yourself and your surroundings. When you present yourself this way, you change how you are perceived, and that perception alone can deter many potential threats before they ever reach you. Your body language is the first signal you send. Stand tall with your shoulders back, head up, and eyes forward. Move with purpose, even if you're not in a rush. A slow, uncertain, or hesitant walk signals vulnerability, while a steady, deliberate pace communicates confidence. Keep your hands free when possible. Holding too many items or burying them in your pockets limits your ability to react quickly. When your hands are visible and ready, you subconsciously project readiness. Awareness plays directly into being a hard target. When you scan your environment regularly, you show anyone observing you that you are paying attention. Criminals often abandon a target the moment they realize that person has noticed them. Something as simple as making brief eye contact with someone who seems to be watching you can send a message, "I see you." This doesn't mean you challenge them. It means you're not an easy mark. Limit behaviors that make you appear distracted. Don't scroll through your phone while walking in public areas. Don't count money in the open. Don't fumble with your bag at night in an isolated place. These actions broadcast a lack of focus and create windows of opportunity for someone to act against you. If you need to check your phone or belongings, position yourself with your back to a wall or in a place where you can see what's happening around you. Blending in is another aspect of being a hard target, especially when traveling. Avoid wearing clothing or accessories that scream tourist or draw unnecessary attention. Keep valuables out of sight, move at the same pace as the locals, and observe how they navigate the area. When you blend into your environment, you're less likely to stand out as a potential target to someone looking for outsiders who may not be familiar with the area's risks. Your voice can be a tool as well. If someone approaches you in a way that makes you uncomfortable, respond firmly and clearly. A strong stop or back up, delivered with conviction, can disrupt a predator's plan. Most criminals rely on hesitation, uncertainty, or silence from their target. When you break that expectation by asserting yourself verbally, you shift the dynamic immediately. Carrying personal safety tools, where legal, is another way to reinforce your status as a hard target. A small flashlight, a whistle, or deterrent spray can give you options in an emergency, but the tool is only useful if you know how to use it effectively and can access it quickly. Carry it in a consistent location so you can retrieve it without searching, and practice deploying it so that your movements are automatic under stress. The essence of making yourself a hard target is this: you control the signals you send. Your posture, pace, awareness, voice, and preparedness all combine to create a presence that says, "I'm not the easy option." People looking for someone to exploit often move on the moment they sense resistance or complication. The more you reinforce that perception, through your actions, demeanor, and readiness, the more you reduce your risk before a threat even has the chance to begin. In high-stress moments, you don't rise to the occasion. You fall back on whatever you've prepared for. When fear floods your system, fine motor skills decline, clear thinking becomes harder, and your body shifts into fight, flight, or freeze mode. If you've never thought about what you would do in a dangerous situation until it's happening, you'll be forced to make decisions in the middle of chaos. That is why having a plan, mentally and physically, before you need one is non-negotiable for personal safety. Your plan starts with mental rehearsal. Think through different scenarios you might realistically encounter and walk yourself through what you would do. If someone follows you to your car, do you turn to confront them, or do you get to a well-lit public space? If you hear yelling and commotion in a store, do you move toward an exit, or do you find a place to take cover? Running through these possibilities in your mind is not about expecting the worst. It's about conditioning your brain so it has a blueprint to follow. When the moment comes, you'll act faster because your mind has seen it before. Physical planning is just as important. Know your environment wherever you are. How many exits are there, where they lead, and whether they are locked or open. If you're in a parking structure, identify where the stairwells and elevators are, and which one you'd choose if you felt unsafe. If you're in a hotel, check the emergency evacuation map on the back of the door. Not because you expect a fire, but because the safest route out in any crisis is rarely the one you use to come in. Your plan should also include your personal safety tools and how you carry them. If you keep deterrent spray in your bag, it should be in an exterior pocket where you can grab it without digging. If you carry a flashlight, it should be small enough to handle quickly, and you should know how to use it both to see and to temporarily blind an aggressor's vision. A tool you can't access in under 2 seconds isn't really a tool. It's dead weight. Communication is another part of your preparation. Have a trusted person you can call if you feel unsafe walking somewhere alone, and let them know when you've arrived. Learn how to share your live location through your phone. If you're traveling, memorize or store the local emergency number. It isn't always 911. Even something as simple as having your phone unlocked and your emergency contacts on speed dial can save seconds when seconds matter most. Practice your plan in low-stress environments so your responses become natural. If you decide that your first move in certain situations is to create distance, practice taking 2 large, fast steps back while raising your voice. If your plan is to get into your car quickly, practice approaching with your keys in hand, scanning your surroundings, unlocking the door, and entering without hesitation. The more you practice, the less your body will freeze when it counts. Adaptability is key. Your plan should be flexible because no 2 situations are identical. You might need to switch from escape mode to defense mode in seconds. That's why the plan is not a script, it's a set of principles you've internalized. Those principles might be: create distance, move toward visibility, use your voice, access your tool, and get to safety. You can apply them in different combinations depending on the circumstances. The truth is, safety doesn't happen by accident. It's the result of preparation. People who survive dangerous encounters often say the same thing: "I knew what to do." That confidence doesn't appear in the moment. It's built in advance. Having a plan means you've already made decisions before the danger appears, and that gives you the one thing most people in a crisis don't have: control over your own actions. Staying safe anywhere is not about living in fear, it's about living with intention. Awareness keeps you ahead of potential threats before they become real. Strategic positioning gives you control over your environment instead of leaving it to chance. Reading human behavior allows you to spot subtle warning signs long before danger reaches you. Presenting yourself as a hard target discourages anyone from seeing you as an opportunity. And having a plan ensures that in the moments when panic could take over, you act with clarity and purpose. Safety is built through daily habits, small decisions, and a mindset that says, "I am responsible for my own protection." When you consistently apply these principles, you don't just reduce your risk, you strengthen your confidence to navigate any space with calm, alertness, and control.